How does the one naturally become the three? And that is the question for today. That is the question for number 129 on the list of the 144 fractal faculties of the Tree of Life. And if you'd like a full listing of those 144 fractal faculties, about a few sentences on each one, just click the link in the description, put your name in the comment section with your email, either one, and I'll send that out to you for free. Also, you can watch my video called Tree of Life, an Introduction. It's 10 minutes long. That will get you up to speed to be able to follow along with all 144 of these videos. If you want to take a deeper dive, you can spend 10 bucks, send it to me by Cash App or Venmo listed in the description. I'll send you a copy of my book called The Mass Tree. And that just goes quite a bit deeper into each one of the, doesn't really touch on the 144 explicitly, but it does really focus on each one of the 12 spheres. And that's about 65 pages. So 10 bucks and you get that. Okay, now we're looking at number 129. And here's the tree. Just keep in mind the tree can be looked at as a map of our consciousness. And our consciousness is a three-dimensional or more thing, and we have to graft it onto a two-dimensional surface here. So we have to, do some extrapolating. But the tree has 12 different circles or spheres here, numbered 10 through 0, with the abyss here. So a total of 12 different spheres or circle, and each one of them represents a different aspect of our consciousness. Okay, so the whole tree is a map of our consciousness. Each one of the spheres is an aspect or a faculty of our consciousness. Now today for 129, we're looking at the first sphere, okay, up here at the top of the tree. And what faculty of consciousness does the first sphere represent? Well, in general, it represents what you call omnipresence, all present, everywhere at once, eternally. This you can think of as subsisting or an ether. It underlies everything. Okay, it's not there on the surface for you. So it's not like omnipresent in a literal sense, being that it's everywhere, because you won't find it on the surface. You have to dig deeper. You have to go inside the whatever the thing is, and it is at the deepest center of whatever that thing is, including you, including me. Okay, so when we get ourselves very, very still so that we can sink into our deepest center, that's where we make contact with this omnipresent being, or our aspect of omnipresence that's within us. And this is our deepest center, our higher self, or the self with a capital S. And again, this is like an ether. It underlies everything. It subsists. And the first sphere is one of our three divine faculties. Omnipotence is 3. Omnipotence, all powerful. 2 is omniscience, or all knowing. And 1 is omnipresence, all present everywhere at once, eternally. And in addition, you can think of the first sphere as really being unity, one as unity, or a unifying factor. Because when we are able to calm ourselves down, calm our mind down to the point that we can sink into our highest, deepest center, we then can recognize that what is at our deepest center is the same as what is at the deepest center of everything. Everything in the universe is linked, is connected through this network of omnipresence. We're all, kind of God particles, and everything is a God particle at its deepest center, and that those things are all connected, or they're really just one being. It's one being that's connected, underlying everything, the first ether. Okay, now that first sphere is just one of our 12 faculties of consciousness. But in this schema, we're really talking about 144 fractal faculties. So to get from 12 to 144, we have to take it to the second power. 12 times 12 is 144. And graphically, visually, what we're really doing is we're taking the whole tree, all 12 faculties, and we're shrinking it down to the size of just one sphere, and then applying it to every sphere. So we're really putting a miniature tree on each one of the spheres of the tree. Okay, that's really taking the tree to the second power. So the 10th sphere is divided into its 12 mini faculties, or fractal faculties, or fractional faculties. And the 9th sphere is divided into its 12, and the 8th sphere is divided into its 12. And so too, the first sphere is divided into its 12 faculties. So the first sphere has a mini or fractal 10th sphere, a mini 9th sphere, 8th sphere, 7th sphere, 6th sphere. So that's what you have to imagine within this first sphere. So within the full spectrum of, or context of omnipresence, then you have all the different faculties within it, mini faculties within it. And today, for number 129, what we're really looking at is we're looking at the third sphere within the first sphere. So if you recall, the third sphere has to do with omnipotence, all powerful. And it really kind of boils down to the third sphere, our ability to do anything that is humanly possible. And we are able to achieve that ability through sound synchronization, being able to use sound as power, as opposed to just using it as meaning, like in language. We're taking language to its third power, to its third function, really, or original function, which is as power. God said, "Let there be light." So what God said comes before the light. The sound came before the light. The sound is what enabled the light. And so the sound is what brings about eventuates the future. And so if you know how to chant mantra, that's how you bring out what's going to happen in the future. You use each one of the spheres on the tree, and others have different syllables connected to them. And if you chant these syllables in the right rhythm and the right for the right amount of time, then you kind of get on that same wavelength, and you make it possible for that particular faculty to become, fertile. Okay, so that. And the main reason why you use the third sphere is to accomplish your higher calling that you had discovered and declared here at the seventh sphere. What is your mission in life? What are you really here for? You're not here to be a doctor or a lawyer or a cop. That's a generic, consensus idea that you would get here at the 8th sphere. But at the 7th sphere, you're wanting to be the best version of yourself. Who are you? You really declared your higher calling. You stated that intention before you were even born, but you forgot about it. And so you're trying to remember that, and then you use the 3rd sphere to actuate it, to actualize it. Okay, so you think of this 3rd sphere as being here within the 1st sphere, within the greater overall context of this omnipresence. For number 129, it's called 3 speed ranges, 3 scalar dimensions. Stage number 129 is about how the universe is composed of 3 scalar dimensions of motion, each underlain by 3 vectorial dimensions. The vectorial motion, vectorial means, in a direction. Scalar means no direction, or alternatively, it means all directions. The vectorial motion is fundamentally divided into the normal or low speed, the intermediate speed, and the ultra high speed ranges, and each one has unique characteristics. The trinity of 3 speed ranges can be shown with a simple box, the box or system or torus. If we have a box, we automatically have both the inside and the outside of the box. The box itself represents motion at the speed of light in all directions. This is really like the ether or the subsisting, the box itself. Time is the outside of the box, and space is the inside of the box. The space gets filled by time. The time gets emptied or excavated by space. This trinity can also be represented by mind, body, and spirit. Mind is outside of the box, and body is inside the box. And between them is the spirit, the box itself. There is a law in physics called the Fourier principle, which says that all shapes are just simple sine waves added up in different combinations. Geometry or shape underlies everything else. In geometry, the vector equilibrium is the system. The inside is the icosahedron, and the outside is the octa-tetra-cube-dodecahedron, all of them. And the indirect nature of the latter causes us to use the second power. The icosa and the dodeca show the phi ratio. The 3 speed ranges can be represented by 1, phi, and phi to the second power. Phi is a transcendental function and can be approximated by the number 1.618033989 and on to infinity. All language is also referring to shapes, geographic relationships, and language is itself in shapes, as the letters themselves are shapes derived from 2 basic shapes, the golden mean spiral and the torus or donut. The vector equilibrium is the donut, and the icosa and dodeca are both the golden mean spiral. There are also 3 scalar dimensions, that is, with no direction or all directions. But we can only perceive one of the 3 scalar dimensions at a time. A scalar dimension cannot be represented geometrically because scalar things have no direction, only magnitude. Scalar motion does not distinguish between one direction and another. but within each scalar dimension, there are 3 vectorial dimensions. The 3 scalar dimensions are the dimensions of space-time. They can be reconciled with the 3 speed ranges in this manner. The first and third dimensions are represent the low or 1 minus x speed, and the intermediate speed range is 2 minus x, while the second scalar dimension represents the 3 minus x or ultra speed range. The second dimension is different than the others in that it is divided into 1/2 in the space-time region and 1/2 in the time-space region. The low and intermediate speeds of the time-space region are in the first scalar dimension, and the low and intermediate inverse speeds are in the time-space region. In the space-time region. They are separated by this 3 minus x range of the second scalar dimension between them. The integers in these 1 minus x, 2 minus x, and 3 minus x equations represent the speed of light. So 1 minus x means that you are between 0 and the speed of light. 2 minus x means that you are between 1 and 2 times the speed of light. And 3 minus x means that you are between 2 and 3 times the speed of light. And so the x is really a number that is less than the speed of light. The 3 speed ranges can thereby also be represented in atomic physics. Low speed range we are accustomed to can be represented by an expanding sphere more and more as the speed increases. At the boundary between the 1 minus x and the 2 minus x, the rules invert. So the intermediate speed region can be represented by a collapsing or contracting sphere that becomes more and more dense as speed increases. The intermediate speed range is entered once we cross the speed of light and things invert. The ultra is speed only in 1 vectorial dimension, represented by a line or jet. They are also represented in the atom between electricity, magnetism, and electromagnetism. These speed ranges have broad applications. For example, the structure of the brain, the skull being the crust, the cerebrum being the 1 minus x range, low speed range, the corpus callosum adds the 2 minus x intermediate range, the outer core, and the thalamus being the 3 minus x range of the inner core. The fact that the Trinity is reflected ubiquitously in our world and that it can be easily resolved into the one shows that deep down we are all one. Okay, I guess that's the main point of all that fairly difficult stuff that is from, most of it is from the reciprocal system of theory from Dewey B. Larson. So we'll get into that in more detail as we move along here on this channel. But that is what we have right now, number 129, the third fractal of the first sphere. 3 speed ranges and 3 scalar dimensions. Okay, thanks for tuning in today. And please stay tuned. Number 130 will be rolling out here tomorrow. And again, click the link in the description or leave your name and email in the comment section if you'd like to get that free copy of the free guide to the 144 fractal faculties of the Tree of Life. Just an abstract on each one. It's a good thing to have because then you can compare and contrast. You can refer back and you can see the whole thing right in front of you. And it's good for being able to study the tree. And you have to study the tree because the only way to really learn it is to memorize it, and then to like memorize the diagram itself, memorize what each part of the diagram refers to, what each sphere refers to, so that you have it old hat. So it's easy, it's 2 plus 2 equals 4. You don't have to think about what 2 plus 2 equals 4 is. You already know it. It's already there. And the same with the tree. You shouldn't have to think about what the sixth sphere is about. It needs to be old hat. It needs to be, the sixth sphere is our free will faculty. Okay, that needs to be, you need to be able to draw that up immediately. And that way you can really take off with the tree. So my advice is to make a diagram of the tree and put it on your bathroom wall or whatever, your refrigerator, whatever, and just kind of like learn how to memorize it. And then you're able to take off with it. It's just like any other discipline. It might be a little bit painful for a while, but ultimately, and it feels like you're kind of imprisoning yourself, but ultimately it gives you freedom. It gives you the ability to go further. Okay, also, again, if you'd like to buy my book, $10 to the Cash App or Venmo address in the description, and I'll send you a copy of that book. You can also donate directly to me through that address, through those addresses. And otherwise, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.